Bam! Good morning, everybody. How we doing? Sammy United People's TV here with another morning news live show. What are you getting up to today? Who's doing what is absolutely pissing it down in the UK, so no one's really going to go outside unless you got to. Now, we're going to run through all the latest news. We're going to speak about Carrick. We'll have a conversation about the January transfer window, which has been quiet. There is no, do you want a bombshell moment? There is no secret midfielder. There's never been a secret midfielder. It's just people desperate for you to go and watch their stuff. Oh, let's just... Oh, Ben Jacobs is signing. Get fucked. Anyway, something that very much annoys me, and I will continue to call it out. I'm going to run through actual transfer news. We'll have a conversation about what might actually be happening in the summer, because United have never really planned on doing much in January. Apart from a few exits, we'll speak about Harry Mass to Norwich, for example. We haven't had a conversation about that yet. We'll also speak about a little bit more on Dorgu, a little bit more on Cunha, and you can let me know what you're thinking in the chat. As always, fire any questions, any comments. You can kind of direct what's going on with the show, as always. Let me have a look who's here. Good morning to Carl, to Maddie, to Josh. Good morning to you. Nice to see you back, buddy. And also some members. We've got Jace, we've got Steve Denham, we've got Smee, we've got Murgatron. Sounds like some sort of robot. Sue, good morning to you. Den, thank you very much for your gifting 5. Morning, Sam. Please take Scholes off your intro video. No, I won't be doing that. Scholes was an incredible player for Manchester United. Him being a crap pundit doesn't change that. All right? That's the truth. Perry, you want... Mate, I got this on... You know, we sometimes go on like an Instagram doom scroll. This one sucked me in. And it actually worked out for once. I'll be honest. I was pretty happy with that purchase. I like my hoodie collection. I need more, though. More! Right. As always, please do get involved. Fire any comments. And I'll try and interact with as many viewers as I possibly can throughout the show. Right, let's get on with it. I want to start off by talking about him. That's a bit harsh. I want to start here by talking about Kolo Muani. Because was it last January? I can't remember if it was last January when he went to Spurs. Was it? I think it was, because it was the same window that we were linked with Matthias Tell, who ended up going to Spurs, and Kolo Muani, who ended up going to Spurs. The same Kolo Muani now, who is wanted by Juve. Not really. Is he being played at Spurs? Is he even at Spurs anymore? Is he back at PSG? I don't know where he bloody is. But complete journeyman. And the reason I'm speaking about him here is because I'm happy that this isn't Manchester United we're talking about. The panic signings. Oh no, coming this short-term fix. Everyone needs a dopamine hit. Give me a midfielder, 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 give me a midfielder. What do you mean we're not signing a midfielder? We've signed a midfielder 3-4 months later. Oh, we're kind of stuck with this player now that we don't actually really want. Probably shouldn't have signed him a few months ago. It just... Look, I know it annoys me more than it should. But this is my job. I try my absolute best to not hype up a fan base and convince a fan base that other stuff is happening when it's not going to happen. And it annoys me beyond belief that you use a headline and a title and then completely say the opposite in a video. But no, you've just done the exact same thing that the Sun would do or the Mirror would do in the headline that brings people in. Just pisses me off no end. Anyway, we've never really been likely to sign someone in January. If I was going to do my dream January at the start of the window, what would I have done? I would have said that Kobbie was going to be leaving on loan because, well, Amram was still here and he wasn't going to play. That's obviously changed. I would have ideally liked to see United move Ugarte on and bring in a midfielder who may well have just been one of those squad midfielders. Maybe someone like Ruben Neves. Look, dude, you can't... I can't disagree that we need a midfielder. I know exactly who we need. He's right there playing for Nottingham Forest. But I know exactly... Could you imagine that we sign Conor Gallagher for 40 million euros. Could you imagine that? Sometimes I get annoyed. Sometimes I do. The amount of headlines I saw about this secret midfielder nonsense, like with 4-year-old kids on a playground, secret midfielders, you want to play my Lego set? Can we share? Want to share some toys? Get fucked. Anyway, if this lad was if it wasn't a World Cup in the summer, I tell you what, we might have done the same sort of approach for Elliot Anderson that we did with Antoine Semenyo. I think if the World Cup wasn't on, I imagine we would have gone after him. But there was no chance. And speaking of no chance, again, I think people, maybe I'm just missing a boat here. Sam, you're an idiot, man. Like, you're working there. Technically, you're a content creator. Why aren't you just creating content around this Cole Palmer story? What do you mean? Like, where's it even come from? Honestly, I just want to shout, shut up about Cole Palmer and Manchester United. And I'll be totally honest here. I might even do a video on this one. Take Bruno out of the team. I still don't want United to go and sign Cole Palmer. I don't see the vision. Someone let me know. What am I missing? I know Cole Palmer is an incredible player, but he strikes me as, if I'm looking to replace Bruno, I'm probably looking elsewhere. Oh, Samuel Luckhurst. Come on, let's all have conversations about it. People just like pretend to be annoyed at what the media does with this and that and United, and then you just gobble, 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 gobble. You just, as soon as it happens again, you gobble it all up. Like, for real. Like, use your noggin. Anyway, this Cole Palmer stuff. I don't really know where it's come from. But hypothetically here, what's the price tag? Stephen, you're saying he's class? Hey, look, I'm not saying he's a bad player. Those words have not left my mouth. He's clearly a very good footballer. Would he be the player that I would spend? Let's be realistic here. 90 minimum. If Cole Palmer leaves Chelsea and goes to another Premier League club, I'm not saying Manchester United, I'm just saying in theory. 90, 100, you're probably looking at a British record, really. Am I spending that money on Cole Palmer? I'm not. I'm really not. I mean, I'm saying 90. It's probably going to be way more than 90. Given that Caicedo went to Chelsea for like 120. I just wouldn't. I think that would be such a misuse of money. You're probably right. It's probably going to be 120 mil plus. Cole Palmer, for me, like this is the fundamental reason why I wouldn't do it. Cole Palmer for me is like an old school number 10. In that, if you've got like an incredible team that can just let Cole Palmer do what he wants, just roam around, just dot about, because he's got an incredible output when he's on form, then good. But that's not the sort of player I think we should be building this team around moving forward. Like, I can't really see Cole Palmer doing anywhere. Not that I'm saying that I want all my attackers to be tracking back, but it's just part of the modern game. You have to be a complete team. Strikes me as the sort of player you build your team around, and he's a luxury player. You have to forgive. I'm not saying that he's Ronaldo, but when we have Ronaldo, you just don't worry about it. Just let Ronaldo go up there, stay up there. Bit like when with Salah for Liverpool. Just, you don't worry about him tracking back. You just let him stay up front. There's no way that I'll be looking anywhere near spending 120, 30, 40 mil, sod knows what, on Cole Palmer. I just kind of want everyone to shut up about it, really. I'm coming swinging about transfers today, apparently. Let me see what you're saying down here in the chat. I know not everyone's going to agree with me on this one, by the way. Mr. Men saying, regardless, we need a midfielder, whether it works or not. You talking about January? I'm like, no. And I'll say this to you now. Like, what's just happened in these last two games? We've just beaten the two literally best teams in the entire league with a midfield of Casemiro and Mainu. because we had tactics and an approach which actually got more out of them rather than less out of them. It actually highlighted their strengths rather than exacerbated their weaknesses. That's what we've done in these last couple of games by staying so compact, by staying tight as a team, not huge spaces between the lines. And our midfield all of a sudden doesn't look anywhere near as vulnerable, even up against a midfield of Odegaard, Rice and Zubimendi. Or Rodri, and I can't remember who else played in midfield for City. Fulham's going to be a big test, but I think this United team midfield-wise, with the one game a season that we're playing now, but as we're playing now, I think it's going to be enough. Nowhere near good enough. But if it's good enough to beat the two top teams in the league, then you should be good enough to try and bring that through for the rest of the season. I think so anyway. Let me see what you're saying down here about him. They want 150 mil plus. I don't know how much they want, but it'll be realistically probably north of 120, right? Contract till 2033. Is that what he's on? You got to laugh at that. You really got to laugh at that. Wes saying Chelsea want to rip us for the payback for us offloading Garnacho. Probably. Man, I need to do a partnership with this. The amount of you that want this jumper, I'm going to have to get in touch with them saying, lads, right? Send me some more jumpers. People want them. Get some discount codes for the community. Come on. What are we going down here? Do I look like Palmer? Nah. No, you're not having that one. He's got like a narrow face. It looks like a little bit of a chipmunk. Palmer would have been great if we were still in a 3-4-3, but he isn't a Bruno. He isn't a playmaker. It's injuries, someone's saying down there. It's such an Ineos move. Too much money for Palmer. Hey, look. People can sort of get excited and talk about transfers, but this is just... There is not really much logic to this, and I say that even if you take Bruno out of the team. But no, headlines. Let's have a conversation. Oh, yes. Why not? Anyway, content that went out yesterday. Latest episode of the podcast. I hope you enjoyed it because we really, really did. We're going to be trying our absolute best to try and bring this podcast to... I suppose the surface, because I don't think everyone really knows we do the podcast. We need to start doing more short clips, putting those out on socials, sharing it a bit more, shouting about it a bit more, because there is so much stuff going on. It just kind of gets buried a little bit. So I promise you we're going to be working on that. But yeah, hope you enjoyed that episode yesterday. And the latest sort of what we learned, we do it after every game. It's not always called what we learned, but there's always a video after the fact. Really enjoyed doing that. Really enjoyed that video. Today's video, I'll tell you the plan for the rest of the week. I've got some ideas. I want to do a video on United's recruitment today. On something I think we're seeing this season that, or simply we haven't seen enough of. And it's been basically the blocker of progress, really, at its core. I'll run through that. Tomorrow, I think I want to have a conversation around Carrick, around what might happen in the future. I mean, this really does go without saying. Before he came in, I said, it doesn't really matter what happens with Carrick. I'm going to stay in the position that United really have to have a long-term plan that doesn't include Carrick. Did I expect Carrick and United to play as convincingly as we have? Again, I thought we could have got a result against City or Arsenal, but there's no way in hell that I could have ever predicted it was going to be as convincing against City or show what we did against Arsenal, which I think was an even better performance away from home against a team that hasn't lost this season and is currently top of the league. But that's 2 games. 15 left, I think. Fulham next is going to be, for a lot of United fans, I'm not saying that we're going to be more excited about this Fulham game. And I don't think that there would be a bigger release of excitement if we beat Fulham. But for a lot of you, and probably myself included, if we can go into that Fulham game and convince in the same way that we convinced. Actually, no, it wouldn't be the same way that we convinced against City. Because against Fulham, there's going to be an expectation from United fans that we have more than 50% of the ball, which has been I wouldn't say the kryptonite. We've got bloody kryptonites. We've got left, right, and centre at this club. But typically we've struggled in games where we are supposed to be on the front foot and control and measure. That's why that Sunderland 2-0 at Old Trafford stood out to me under Amrim as one of those, like, okay, so that was just a comfortable 2-0 win. No sort of heart-stopping moments, no arse twitching, no anything, right? That's what I would love to see against Fulham. Won't be easy, by the way, because Fulham are what, 7th? I think they're 7th. What's going on at Fulham this season, by the way? How have they snuck into 7th? Jeez, mate, the league this year is nuts. But Fabrizio stating the obvious here. If it goes like this and continues like this, he will be a contender for that job. Rightly so. Like Roy Keane completely dismissed him, said if he won every single game, then no, you still can't consider him. I mean, come on. We already ran through it yesterday. The longest win streak that United have had, it was Mourinho in 2016-17 with 9 wins in a row. We're on 2. Let's see if we can get to 5. Actually, no. Don't really care about that bloke who hasn't got his haircut. But I'm sure he'll come back in now. Anyway, of course he'll have a chance. Of course he will. And for a lot of United fans, this was quite a significant moment. And it kind of goes to show you the impact that small decisions can have. Not just on the outcome of the game, because Šeško was involved in that third goal, by the way. He sort of had, I think he got the ball down. Kobbie picked it up. Was it Bruno picked it up and then passed to Kobbie? Kobbie to Cunha to goal. But the impact it had on the fan base. To see Šeško coming on, and it was for Dorgu, and I'm not going to speak about when it happened, because I was right. For a lot of United fans, having seen Amrim switch centre-backs after centre-backs and full-backs for full-backs, it was intent. It's the big word, the big buzzword. The intent of that sub and what that showed to United fans. Alex saying it was good in-game management. What's going down here? Right, let's move on. Let's talk about transfers. Maybe I should just go, sod that, man. Should we just go full clickbait? Yeah, why not? Should we join the pack? Yeah, we should, shouldn't we? Who am I kidding? Why be the only one sitting on the outside, Sam? Join in. Man, I wish that we could have gone after Elliot Anderson in January. I think it's abundantly clear that he's our number one choice. Davey's saying, why is Anderson impossible in Jan? He's always been impossible in Jan for 2 reasons. 2 reasons? Well, 1 reason, really. World Cup. If you are Nottingham Forest, it doesn't matter that you're probably going down, which is really quite funny, actually. I hope Forest get relegated. I think their owner's an absolute whopper. And to go from Nuno to Postecoglou it's like one of the worst pivots I've ever seen an owner take as a football club. Quite a lot of you down here now sort of praising Holland. Mate, you couldn't mention Steve Holland's name when Carrick was coming in because there was a photo of him being Southgate's assistant. Man, football fans, so fickle sometimes. Some of the arguments are just so unsubstantial. And you kind of got to interact with a lot of it. It just kind of drags you down into like this dumb pit. Anyway. Steve Holland is good at what he does. Bombshell moment. Almost like he's worked under Mourinho, under Conte, under plenty of different managers. And he's there effectively as a leaning post for Carrick and somebody who can help and advise. Which in the environment of Manchester United, you absolutely bloody need. And it was the biggest mistake that David Moyes made. I mean, he made a lot of mistakes, David Moyes. But he came into the club after Fergie. René Mildenhall was gone. Mike Phelan was gone. Everybody was gone. And David Moyes was stuck on an island going, where the hell do I turn? Where the hell do I turn? Carrick's got Holland. But Anderson, there was never a chance because Forest would be foolish to sell him before the World Cup when his price is only going to go up. And despite the fact that Forest's season is, well, they're not exactly having a good one, are they? Pretty much every game, Elliot Anderson's coming out of it with stripes. He's consistently performing, even in a team that's getting relegated. Oh, yeah, I'm terrified, Vic, that City are going to come in, slap it on the table, and he's going to join them. United are going to have to do a hell of a lot. What would you say is going to be United's biggest pull for Elliot Anderson? What do you think is going to be the difference? If we are successful in signing him, what do you think is the... I don't know. Like, what is it that convinces him? Obviously, if we get Champions League football, that's going to be a big thing. But City will have Champions League football. So that's kind of bar for bar. Selling the project, I think, was one of the big reasons why they were able to get Cunha and Mbeumo in. So that's going to be part of it. Wages, he's going to fall in line with United's probably top earners. So it's going to be 100 to 150. It's not going to be anything more than that. Just showing Calvin Phillips. Pep leaving, I think, is actually a fair point now. But at the same time, you can't look at Manchester United and be convinced of any sort of stability because, well, we don't know who's going to be our head coach next season. So United are going to have to try and get that sorted. When you think about this out loud and we think about what's ahead of us, right? If United, let's say we're not going to have Carrick as our head coach, and that's a decision that's made by the end of the season, then United are probably going to want to wait until after the World Cup because then certain managers are going to become available. And I suppose Elliot Anderson probably wouldn't complete his move wherever he goes from Forest until after the World Cup. So it might mean that we're going to have to wait until July the 19th is the end of the World Cup, I think. We're going to have to wait until after July the 19th to sign our biggest signing of the summer or go after him in Elliot Anderson. And our new head coach is going to leave a lot for the end of July before the preseason starts. I don't know when the preseason starts. It's going to be a tough one for United to get everything we want and at the time that we want it to this summer because of that World Cup. That's what I think anyway. Let me see what we're saying down there. City will buy him for the sake of buying him. City are just City. Right. We won't compete on wages. I mean, I think Semenyo's going to be on I think he's on something around 300 grand, isn't he? That's what I read. I don't know whether that's completely true. Guaranteed start because Bruno's leaving. I don't think Bruno staying or leaving has any impact on Elliot Anderson. You're talking about two players in different positions on the pitch now. Because if we're going to be going for the traditional, well, I say more of a traditional 4-2-3-1 shape, then Bruno's just there as the out-and-out number 10. It's got nothing to do with the two central midfielders. I suppose without Champions League, United might not have a chance, but it depends on what Elliot Anderson wants next season. But if you're going to be competing for the World Cup with England and you're going to be a starting midfielder, you're probably going to want to come back in and play Champions League football. Talena, you're saying this 2 weeks has been the best since the Barcelona City and League Cup final period under Ten Hag. I'm so happy. I even watched TalkSport. Go and wash your eyes. But, mate, that period there, that January after we signed Weghorst, after the Winter World Cup and Rashford came back and he was like the informed player in all of Europe. Jeez, that was good. But I'll run through what's in the Athletic transfer deal sheet. And there's absolutely nothing on any signing. There is no secret midfield signing. I can't give you any of this tabloid nonsense because I don't want to waste your time. And it's what I will always do on this channel, but I will always moan about it when I see it on others because it just pisses me off because they get more eyeballs. And it hypes up the United fan base. And then it plays into a United fan base that has less patience. and a United fan base that thinks they're disappointed because something didn't happen, but it was never going to. But you've just been sold false promises by false headlines, and that people just don't realise it. And it's a lot of it is subconscious, but it feeds into this fan base which wants it all now. I wouldn't say just necessarily wants it all now, but just can't seem to decipher between what's true and what's not. Just the integrity of some fucking channels, man. They've none whatsoever. They'd sell their asshole for a £5. Red Baron, what are you saying? Maybe not £5, maybe 20 quid. Does anyone think City's outgoings are completely dodgy? Bob for 20, 30 mil? Mate, City's outgoings for a long time. Like, who was it? I can't remember who it was. They sold some goalkeeper. Was it? It was to Southampton. Bazunu? Was it Gavin Bazunu? I don't know how the hell I pulled that one out. I think they sold him for like 18 million. Who had never played a game for them before. I was like, weird. And you're saying for us he starts with City, could hold the bench. They have form for it. City, of course, they're a little club. Mate, he must, I suppose, have a conversation with Cunha and Boomer. I don't think they're upset with their decisions. I'm going to be speaking about those two today. Diddly-did-did-diddy. Yeah, Gambazuna. Where did that come from? Random. Anyway, transfers. I thought you might be interested in this. This is from The Athletic. How much every club has spent. Oh, look, surprise, surprise. City are the top spenders and have received absolutely nothing. Spurs, they spent, was it Conor Gallagher? I think they got, did they get like a left back, a Brazilian left back as well? I think so. Anyway, they've also sold, who'd they sell? Can't remember. Anyway, Spurs, West Ham, Crystal Palace, Bournemouth getting the monies in. But I think that's 13 teams. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 clubs have been active in terms of either making a little bit of money or spending some money. So that means that 7 clubs, including Manchester United, haven't been at all active in the window in terms of money sold. In terms of players coming in and out, it's just been about finding loans. So Toby Collier's gone to Hull and Harry Mass has gone on loan to Norwich for the rest of the season. Brennan Johnson, that was it. He went to Crystal Palace, didn't he? What would be your predictions for what happens next season for Harry Mass? I think Luke Shaw's not a Manchester United player next season. I still stand by that. I hope Luke Shaw, if there was ever going to be a time where United will be able to move him on, it's not even just move him on. Just the time is right. Straight into Casemiro category. Right, thank you very much, but we're going to be moving on. Does Harry Mass take that spot in the squad? I don't know about that. He could be. Like Jason and John, you're both saying he could be sold. I worry about the pathway, if I'm being honest. I don't really know what's going to be happening at left back for us. Because I think you've got to have Dorgu in that question as well. I don't really think there's a world where Harry Mass comes to Manchester United next season and is a starter every week. He could be a squad player. I don't know what he'll want at this point in his career next season. Mushroom saying, I kind of understand you about Shaw, but he's been terrific. Look, I don't mean that to me in a disrespectful manner. Like, Shaw has been fitter than any of us expected this season. Probably better largely than any of us expected this season. He's had some faux pas performances, like most Manchester United players. But to his credit, he's stayed fit and available for selection. Through 3 managers now. It doesn't change the fact that I don't think that he should be here past the summer. I was the exact same position with Casemiro and the club has moved him on. I imagine that the club does the exact same thing with Luke Shaw. I suppose it's a little bit different because Shaw has a contract. Casemiro's was out of contract and he just decided, no, the right time for me to go. One to watch, I suppose. Malacia will be leaving on a free in the summer because his contract just expires. But let me run through this, right? What's happened at United this week? Casemiro, we know. That's it. Casemiro's leaving. We've already run through that. Harry Mass, just ran through and discussed that. Yissa Alau is the young lad who's ended up moving to Chelsea. Stephen, told you to back Shaw, Sam. I did ask you to back Maguire. What do you mean? I haven't unbacked Shaw. I'm just talking about what I think should be happening in the summer. It's got nothing to do with not backing. Do I think Maguire could stay? I think there is a possibility that Maguire could stay on a reduced contract for a 1-year extension. I don't think that's impossible. I don't think the club will do the same thing with Luke Shaw. But anyway, you said, we've spoken about this a few times now. I don't know why any young player looks at Chelsea and goes, you know what? That's the right environment for me. I can't comprehend it. But it has to be financial. Because from a pathway perspective, or maybe they just want to be part of they believe in the Chelsea model and he's going to be going on loan to Strasbourg. Don't know. Right, Steve, can't be asked to have an argument with you, mate. It's not your channel. Well, it's not just you here. I've already had a conversation. It's ain't going to be a back and forth, bro. Right, what else you got down here? And I threw absolutely nobody under the bus. So don't put words in my mouth. Thank you very much. Casemiro leaving. United's priority targets. Summer. End of transfer conversation. So join in tomorrow when we talk about the secret midfielders that we're going to be signing in the scramble for the deadline. And we're going to be signing another forward, a secret forward. Ooh, who could it be? Who could it be? Absolutely nobody. All right? Absolutely nobody. One person we will speak about, though, is Kobbie. And what does it say down here? Basically, the priority for United, right, after the window, is going to be this Kobbie contract, which it really should be. I think I've seen multiple reports suggesting now that I think he's on about 20 grand a week. Something like that. Nay much compared to players around him, 20 grand was a fair contract when he signed it, but where he is now, it's grown, right? Type yes or no in the chat. Do you think Kobbie signs a new contract with Manchester United before the World Cup? I'm going to have to give you the elevator music because the doors rang. God damn it. Really bad, man. He just wants to have a conversation about do you think Carrick should stay? I'm like, mate, I'm live. Don't want to be rude. Anyway, let me see what you're saying down here because I left after I asked the question. Right, plenty of you getting involved. I reckon I should do a poll on that. Let's leave that poll for the rest of the show, actually. Do you think Kobbie signs a new deal before the World Cup? Yes or no? Right. I'm personally not worried about whether he'll sign a contract. I think it's just when he signs a new contract. I wouldn't have said that if Amram was still manager, because I wouldn't have known what would have if Kobbie could already be playing for Napoli. And then, anyway, we don't need to speak about that anymore. But a new Kobbie contract. You see, I spoke about this yesterday. I've had it confirmed now by the stats. Mate, the most distance covered in both games against City and Arsenal. That really is... It's almost funny, really. After, effectively, the main reason he was being left out was for athletic purposes. It's not just about ground coverage, by the way, is it? It's about more than that. It's about like how sharp you are over the first like 4 or 5 yards, how quick you can get out to a player. I thought it was quite funny. Saying down here, Maddie saying no because who will the manager be? Good World Cup will get him a better deal. I think we've spoken about this before. Said, if you're Kobbie's agent, why would you get him to sign a deal before the World Cup when it's likely, if he goes to the World Cup and he plays, that his value only goes up more? In the same way that Forest would be kind of foolish to sell Elliot Anderson before a World Cup because his price will likely go up after. Same sort of conversations. I think it's probably in Kobbie's agent and maybe therefore Kobbie's best interest to not sign one before the World Cup. We'll see. Right. I'll go back to that poll towards the end of the show, but we've got 300 votes are in and 75% of you think that Kobbie does sign a new deal before the World Cup. Really is funny how I just can't seem to get an hour where we're just having a show. It happens so often, it's ridiculous. But anyway, let's speak about Patrick Dorgu. Thought this was a cool video. Don't need that. This is just a video that... so Dorgu's been doing plenty of finishing training outside of Manchester United with sort of a private coach. And his coach has just been sharing this. So I think he's been working on his shooting quite a lot. And actually, I think I want to stop the poll because I want to ask you one more now, right? So we've got 300 votes are in. 76% of you think he'll sign a contract before the World Cup. I think I disagree. I'd say after. I want to ask you this. What do you think is Dorgu's long-term position at Manchester United? Right? Left back or left wing? I'm just going to put those two down. There's no, I could put, oh bloody hell. Didn't think you were going to sneak that in there. Damn it. I'm going to get shut down for copyright now. You sneaking that in there for, bro? I thought you were just doing training footage. Cheeky. Right. My question is, what do you think it is? Left back or left wing? I think it's going to be an interesting one. An interesting debate. Because if you had asked me 6 weeks ago, I said there would have been absolutely no chance of Dorgu being considered a left winger for Manchester United. But the development in his output and technical output has been phenomenal. Not just that finish against Arsenal, not just that finish against Newcastle, both of which are absolute worldies, or just a cross against Šeško, but just his overall output. Nice intricate play, one-touch football, light footwork, good movement, great tracking back. He seems far more a natural left winger than he does seem a natural left back, if you know what I mean. Certain players are just naturally good at defending and they learn to go forward. Certain players, I suppose a bit like Harry Mass. Harry Mass naturally very gifted and technical going forward, but needs to learn more about the positioning. I'm going to go and see what you're saying down here. Right. What's going on? Oh, come on. That's got to be... Oh, that's bullshit. Surely. That better not be true. Ah, come on. For real. Mate. Come on. That's absolutely grim news, both for him and for Manchester United. Boy, mate, football's cruel sometimes, man. Really cruel. Like, this is a lad who's come to United for a year, and he's had a tough year. He's been up and down, up and down. Development's been really difficult for him. And he goes and strings together 6 weeks like that. And boom, he's out for 10 weeks with a hamstring injury. Oh, mate, that is cruel. That really is, man. I'm absolutely gutted for him there, man. Unlucky lad. Yeah, I mean, we were all hoping it was just cramp. But you know, you saw it when he was going down. Like, he went and grabbed his hamstring before he was even down. Boy, oh boy, what's that? 10 weeks, 2 months, end of March. That's basically the season, isn't it? What, he comes back halfway through April. That's Dorgu out for the season, people. That is Dorgu out for the season. 10 weeks quite a bad one, isn't it? Obviously, Bruno had a hamstring injury, was out for like 17 days. There's different grades. You might just get like a pull. You might get a tear. You might get a full tear. Let me see what the article says as well. Fuck's sake, man, that's crap. That is absolutely crap. Said to miss around 10 weeks with a hamstring injury. Sustained the injury while chasing a long ball. United are still assessing the extent of injury with a timeline still not totally surged. 10 weeks out. Taking Leeds on the 11th of April. That's what I call that news. Nah, 10 weeks, not 10 days. Anyway, we'll go back to the bloody poll now, but nearly 500 votes are in, and 75% of you are saying left wing in terms of the future for Dorgu rather than left back. From what I'm seeing right now, may well be the case. Yeah, look, we've got Cunha was left on the bench in these last 2 starts because Dorgu was playing incredibly. So it's not as it. I don't think the quality of United's starting 11 is going to be going down because Dorgu's out, but that takes a little bit of strength away from the squad. Because Cunha coming in, yeah, that's a class player. Really gutting for him, man. I think United should be able to cope without it, but just for him, he deserved to be enjoying this sort of vein of form and to continue it. That sucks balls. Nah. I'll tell you what, I might end the show on that one. Last couple of minutes. There's nothing else to really talk about. Actually, no. Cunha coming in for Dorgu. Yeah, good. Cunha on the left. It may well mean that there's a bit more space for Šeško now. Because bear in mind that Cunha and Šeško haven't been starting in these last 2 games. So now you're likely probably to see Cunha on the left, Šeško up top, and Bumo on the right, and Bruno in the middle. Has there been a game where we've seen that yet? Don't think there is. Not with Bruno in his best position and with that front 3. May well happen against Fulham. We'll find out. But yeah, last minute or 2, any questions you want to ask me, anything you want me to speak about more? I know I moan about clickbait and headlines and this and that, but integrity for me is probably the single most important thing that I've always carried through this channel from the very beginning. For years, I had to fight against, you're a United fan from the south, you're from London, blah, 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 and it was just boring. It's boring, but you had to keep going and going and going and going and proving your integrity through all of that. And it takes a lot of time. Like, I'm not just going to throw it all away, but some people do not give a toss and are just as bad as the rags they try to complain about. Pot, kettle, black. And they'll pretend otherwise when it's so abundantly obvious. What we're saying down here. Lacey and Scanlon on the bench. I don't think Scanlon's ever going to get a chance at United. Always found that a bit weird. But Shea Lacey, that's what happens in football, man. It's cruel. Football is a cruel game. But that injury for Dorgu might create more opportunities for Lacey. might create more opportunities for Ahmad to play further forward. I suppose you already kind of have. I don't know. Let's find out. But look, do I think Bruno should retire at United? I don't think he will. Anyway, lunchtime video today. I'm going to get cracking on it. I'm going to speak about Cunha and Bumo and United's recruitment. Probably tomorrow speak about Carrick. Probably... don't know what else the rest of the week. But I'll tell you when I know. Carl watching whilst on a flight. That's awesome, dude. 30,000 feet in the air. Right? Much love to all of you. Ladies and gents, whatever you do in life, keep your integrity right to your core, because I guarantee you that is the one thing that will drive you through all the noise, no matter what is happening in anything you do. I'm not just talking about running a bloody YouTube channel here. Or running a community of the size that we've got here. It can be very, very micro, but keep your integrity and never stray from it. And I guarantee you, when you reach maybe towards the end point, you'll look back and you go, you know what? It might have taken a little bit longer to get here, but I know exactly who I've been the entire way through. And it will drive you through. Take it easy, everyone.